Today we are going to cover 25 English essential words every intermediate learner should know. These words help you improve your communication skills, expand your vocabulary, and sound you more natural in the conversation. Let's get started. If you are ready, grab a piece of paper and draw a line to make two columns. In the first column, make a plus sign and write down the words already you know. In the second column, make a minus sign and write down the words you don't know. At the end of the video, count how many words you know and let me know in the comments below. Let's challenge begin. First, vocabulary. Encourage. Encourage means to support someone, giving a confidence or hope to someone else, and in a positive way. So if you make the example for that, my teacher encouraged me to apply for the scholarship because she believed I could win it.
Forrest, don't talk to it, Mary. Don't encourage it. You need to encourage him.
Second vocabulary, assume. When you assume something, you're just guessing or you're just accepting them without any proof. So for example, that I assume you know about the meeting yesterday. I had to make sure before the meeting you already know everything else. You just assume it, you didn't know the fact.
I assume you have a preference.
No, I do.
What's Sister Betty for?
Well, I assumed.
Don't assume anything, brother.
Third vocabulary, clarify. When you clarify something, you're removing all the confusion. You're making sure you understand everything else in 100%. So for example, can you clarify what does it mean by the statement? I didn't understand. So you try to understand what exactly in the statement is. So you try to understand 100%.
What are you doing?
I just need to clarify something.
Okay, let me clarify. Open up and keep it open.
Okay.
Fourth vocabulary, emphasize. When you emphasize something else, you're giving special attention and you're making sure everyone knows about that. It's important. For example, that she emphasized that honesty is the best policy in any relationship.
I can't emphasize enough that French is a smiling language.
You might emphasize to your wife she's not a government employee, so she's not covered by whistleblower protection.
Vocabulary number 5, neglect. So when you use neglect in the sentence that means if you don't give enough attention and that can cause a problem, that can lead to problem that. So for example, that don't neglect your health. Make sure you eat properly and do the exercise, because if you don't do that, that's gonna cause you problem in your health.
When did that happen?
When Jesse told me that his neglect was not just a one-time occurrence, that kid's living situation is far more dire than your patient led you to believe.
He faces a future of torture, neglect, and degradation.
Vocabulary number 6, aware. The aware of something else, the having information and knowledge for the facts, for the situation that. So for example, it's important to be aware of the risks before you start a new business. So you have to know all the risks that before starting any business that. You have to be aware of that.
You are aware that Mr. Whitty has offered a reward of £100 for a conviction of horse stealing against your son.
Oh, I'm aware of that.
You are aware, I take it, that the Jews killed our Lord?
And you're aware, I suppose, that our Lord was Jewish?
Require. Require is meaning something essential, something has to be done to be something happen that. So for example, this job requires 2 years experience to apply. So if you don't have 2 years experience, that means you cannot apply that.
She didn't believe in mayonnaise?
She didn't believe in food that required electricity.
Certain operations require a level of violence not palatable to most people, and certain operations require a higher level of deniability.
Sufficient. Sufficient means that you meet the requirement, so enough requirement you have it that in that situation. So like say you have enough sufficient to fund this project. So enough money that you have in that.
Yes, he will be sufficient.
A bird. The dead can return given sufficient motivation.
Appreciate. Appreciate is meaning that the kind of way you are grateful, you are thankful in that situation. And you know, many times we use it in our daily life, like I appreciate your help. It means a lot to me.
To pretend that she wasn't mad fit?
I'd appreciate it.
Okay.
Well, at least someone knows how to appreciate my cooking.
Consider. Consider means that is taking your time to think about every possible opportunity or the solutions for any problem that. Like, before you move in any city, you have to give yourself a time to consider about every possibilities.
I have to read this. I have to consider it carefully.
No, you don't. There's nothing left to consider, Dr. Bell.
Consider the proceedings unsealed.
Vocabulary 11. Analyze. The analyze meaning that the breaking down the situation that understand the better. You can use it for the data or you can use it for any problems to analyzing that. Like, we need to analyze the data in order to come any decision. So you have to check all the necessary information.
Come on, analyze.
Good night and happy dreams, which we will analyze at breakfast.
Good night, Dr. Perlman. Thanks for everything.
Number 12. Conclude. So conclude is meaning that after you analyze all the information, all the data, you come into solution that, or you come into final part to giving a decision. And for example, that the report concluded that the more research needed in this topic.
Captain, you may come down now to conclude our discussions.
Let's now remove our heir apparent that we may conclude this ceremony.
Demonstrate. Demonstrating is like showing something else with the evidence, with the proof, with some practical application that. It's like showing something how does it works. So for example that I demonstrate to you how you can learn English at home step by step. And also you can watch it from here.
Okay, this might be the moment to demonstrate my greatest talents.
Major, demonstrate the weapon on single shot.
Number 14. Establish. The establish meaning that you're setting up a rule or permanent basis. Like you can set up a company, a rule, or relationships. For example, that the company established in 1999, and since that time is growing.
This is for the PCR to establish a baseline for the viral load.
SG3, secure these guys. Then establish a perimeter.
Number 15. Interpret. When you interpret something else, that means you're making sure of it, you're clearing all the complexity, all the misunderstanding that. So for example, that the students were asked to interpret the poem, so in their own words.
You said you just interpret the evidence.
I have to interpret what the dog is moaning about.
Before we move into number 16, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, I want you to smash subscribe button right now. If you want to learn more vocabulary and learn English at home, this is time to subscribe. Number 16, justify. It justify means that you are proving your action or your decision that, or you're telling that why you are right in that things. For example, that the manager had to justify why he needs a budget increase.
He'd expect us to justify self-defense.
I guess it makes me angry because I can't justify being angry.
Number 70, propose. The propose meaning in the business vocabulary that you suggesting a new solution or you suggesting a new idea that you're using that. In other words, you proposing your girlfriend for the marriage. That's the other idea we're using the propose. But in the business world, when you use the propose, you're proposing the idea. And like she proposed to schedule the meeting in order to improve the productivity.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to propose a toast to freedom.
Jenny, let me propose something before you start the killing.
Number 18, resolve. The resolve is meaning that you find the solution or any problem that, and you can use for like, I resolved the problem we have in it for the last couple of years.
No, we must not dabble in their affairs anymore. This is for them to resolve.
If I'm not prying, did you ever resolve your personal difficulties?
Number 19, specify. When you specify something else, you're giving detail and exact information about it. So for example, that the instructions specified the application submit by 5 p.m.
Neck attack! Wanna go punch for punch? Oh, good one! I did not specify!
Were you in my closet? You didn't specify any parameters to my walks. You took this.
Number 20, convince. So convince something else, you persuade for someone idea, someone opinion that to making the same things with you. Like, although I wanted to stay at home, he convinced me that to go to football match at the stadium.
What does that mean?
Means I'm not convinced he did it.
I know he did.
Then why is he trying to convince us that he did? I can convince anyone of anything.
Number 21. Substantial. Substantial is meaning that something is a large and big impact on the station that. For example, that the company made substantial investment to new technology for their services.
The only substantial targets are a kind of llama.
She was here this morning and made a substantial cash withdrawal.
Number 22. Unpredictable. When you use the unpredictable, that means you cannot predict or expect what's gonna come. So you don't know what's gonna happen after that. Like, the weather in England is unpredictable. You never know it's gonna rain or shine.
When two big groups come face to face, the outcome is always unpredictable.
The guy who called this in is armed and unpredictable, so be careful, all right?
Verify. The verify means that the checking the information true or correct. Like, for example, that please verify your information in order to proceed the transaction. Verify.
It's the truth. You can verify it with Chappelle.
Chetri, verify it.
Virtually. When you use the word virtually, is exactly the similar one. It's not the 100% is match, but it's very close. For example, that the city was virtually empty during the bank holiday weekend, so everyone had gone out of the town.
There's virtually zero chance of Jackson grooming Gus back.
Nance, trust me, a bakery is virtually impossible to run without drug money.
The last word, reluctant. When you use the word reluctant, that means you are not sure to do it or not. You are hesitating. If you do that, you are doing what with unwillingly. For example, that he was reluctant to try new food because it looked unusual to him.
Are you afraid?
Of course I'm afraid. You think I'm reluctant because I'm happy?
There's no pulse. Because, my reluctant friend, you are quite dead.
Alright, we come to end up. Please let me know in the comment below how many words do you have in your plus column. Thank you so much for watching that. I hope you enjoyed the video. See you in the next one.